James Callahan perched on his bunk, legs crossed, meticulously drizzling cheese over a bowl of nachos. The microwave whirred softly in the corner of the shared quarters, a hybrid of metal and living tissue, characteristic of the alien bioship Valere. The vessel sighed gently around him, its walls emitting a faint, rhythmic luminescence, akin to the interior of a colossal, slumbering beast. "I believed you had departed," he remarked, glancing back. Raelk remained by the entrance, her elongated six-limbed form rigid. Her complexion, usually an ethereal blend of blues and greens, now radiated a subtle orange hue, an ominous indication. James recalled his knowledge of Vori colors. Orange signified anxiety, unease, or a blend of the two. "Indeed, I intended to," Raelk articulated, her voice silken, the Vori accent subtly emphasizing specific syllables. The tempest descended prematurely, halting all launch pods. "We're marooned." James's eyes widened. "Marooned, as in confined together?" Ryle affirmed, her upper hands instinctively soothing her sides. "Precisely. Dormitories are sealed for a span of 12 Earth days under emergency protocol." James dropped his nachos, a wave of disbelief washing over him. The emergency lights pulsed momentarily as a detached, robotic voice resonated through the room's comm speaker. "Security lockdown initiated. Isolation chambers deactivated. Attention all personnel. Please remain in your designated quarters until further announcement." He fixed his gaze on the speaker. "This must be a prank." "It's no jest, James," she murmured somberly. "The mating season has commenced. The timing is truly regrettable." James ran a hand over his weary face. "Tell me, this won't escalate into a catastrophe?" Silence was her only response. As the lockdown stretched into its third agonizing hour, James found himself restless. "All right," he whispered, more to himself than anyone else. "A mere 12 days. Just a brief 12 days. I can manage this." "No problem." His gaze drifted to Revex, who was now nestled on the far side of the room, curled tightly in on herself. She had muted her radiance, almost fading into the gloom like a specter. Only her luminous eyes, wide and intense, betrayed her inner turmoil. "So what precisely transpires during mating season?" he inquired, his curiosity piqued. She paused, a flicker of apprehension crossing her features. Biology spirals into flux, amplified emotions surge, and primal cravings intensify. Bonds forge deeply with kindred spirits, drawn together by harmonious scent and energy. James recoiled, his face contorted. "Please assure me humans aren't targets." Realvex tilted her head, her gaze measured. "We hadn't anticipated it. Yet your scent possesses an unusual stabilizing effect." James retreated. "That's simultaneously flattering and utterly alarming." She dipped her head in acknowledgement. "I pledge to act only with full consent. My mind, for the moment, remains my own sanctuary." James settled cautiously across the chamber, deliberately maintaining a respectful distance. He surveyed the ship's living walls, their red glow intensifying with palpable strain. "So we're confined here amidst your species' mating cycle, and somehow, inexplicably, my presence soothes you. Indeed, should I cease soothing your anxieties, I risk surrendering to my baser instincts, potentially triggering a primal bonding sequence." James, exasperated, flung his arms skyward. "Magnificent! Just peachy. Everything's absolutely perfect." By day's end, they'd meticulously partitioned the room into designated functional areas. James claimed the left corner of their bunk, along with his tools and a jury-rigged curtain fashioned from a weathered solar blanket. Ryle gravitated towards the wall panel, where the heat vents emitted the strongest warmth. Her skin patterns now pulsed with a vibrant intensity, oscillating between shades of amber and rose. Not threatening, but undeniably restless. They maintained a careful distance. Periodically, James would break the silence with a strained jest. "Lovely climate out in the black, wouldn't you say?" To which she'd respond with a deliberate blink before resuming her calming breaths. Yet a nagging unease persisted within him. The vessel should have provided segregated chambers for instances such as this. Communal living was strictly prohibited during the Vori reproductive cycle. Why this instant? He engaged his wrist console, retrieving the urgent incident reports. The display wavered signal was faint at this stratum of the vessel, yet the record materialized. Emergency containment protocol initialized. Asteroid storm imminent. External systems compromised. Level 4 isolation failing. Power surge detected, James murmured, a chill in his voice. He continued to peruse the data. The power surge predated the asteroid detection by 2 hours. Inexplicable. He glanced up, meeting Ryle's gaze. "But something's not right here." He angled the screen for her to see. Behold, the isolation chambers lost power preemptively. Someone foresaw the impending tempest. She cocked her head, a flicker of unease in her eyes. "That's decidedly suspect. A deliberate act, perhaps?" Rielvek rose deliberately. "The High Nest has murmured about cross-species affinity tests. Many faltered, yet some posit that heightened emotional closeness during the bonding cycle could forge an unprecedented link." James's brow furrowed. "Hold on, you suspect this is a calculated maneuver? You and I, as a pair?" She affirmed with a nod. He scoffed, a harsh sound escaping his lips. "Seriously? That's ludicrous. Or is it?" she murmured. "You are the initial human I've encountered. You address me without apprehension. You concoct curious cuisine and appalling melodies. They label it classic rock. Much appreciated. You regard me as an equal, a rare find indeed." James gently rubbed his neck. "Listen, I'm not looking to connect with anyone, all right? No hard feelings. I simply construct devices, repair equipment, and I certainly didn't volunteer for emotional entanglements." She retreated slightly. "Understood. I shall maintain my distance." Her voice remained serene, yet her complexion turned ashen, mirroring profound disappointment. James experienced a pang of remorse. "What?" he questioned inwardly. He never intended to inflict such pain. However, the circumstance felt incredibly bizarre, undeniably perilous. That evening, sleep eluded James as he gazed at the gently illuminated ceiling. The biochip emitted faint, rhythmic sounds, evocative of a whale's song in the abyss. The chamber was serene, save for Rialvex's subtle movements during her encounter. Earth lingered in his thoughts. His weathered garage, the clamor of tools and music, and the neighboring dog's boisterous barks. Nothing could have readied him for sharing space with a luminous extraterrestrial during her people's most deeply felt season. He shifted, turning towards her. "Real, are you all right?" She shifted. "Look, I'm not aiming to offend. Honestly, I'm terrified, all right? This entire ordeal is far beyond my comfort level." "Understood," she responded softly. "Your composure is invaluable, truly. It's a tremendous help." We inhaled deeply. "We'll navigate this. No mating, no bonding. Simply 2 individuals coexisting for 12 days. "Greed," she stated, then paused. "But should I start losing it, you've got to flag me, okay? Deal." A brief pause. And James, hey, those nachos? Not half bad. He cracked a smile in the dimness. Appreciate it. The following day, James stirred to see Reeve hovering close to his bunk, eyes practically popping. You're radiant, she blurted out. Huh? He bolted upright. His skin lacked its usual radiance, yet the biosuit's emergency defense system had sprung to life. Sensing her nearness, it had initiated an overly zealous proximity alert. Stepping back, she murmured, My deepest apologies. I experienced a fleeting lapse in judgment. James rose swiftly. It's quite all right. Simply maintain some space. Understood? She gave a small nod, her frame trembling imperceptibly. I shall endeavor to. The morning unfolded in a hushed stillness. James tinkered with his equipment, striving to construct a personalized signal amplifier. Rilks practiced mindful meditation, resonating with subtle vocalizations. It lacked serenity, yet remained short of pandemonium. Suddenly, a disruptive static erupted. Unauthorized access identified within isolation protocols. James abruptly halted his actions. What in the world? The vessel registered illicit interference with its core systems. He pivoted towards Realvex. Something significant is transpiring. I believe we're integral. No reply came, yet the sun-kissed warmth on her face intensified. 12 days stretched into an eternity. James sat with crossed legs, fixated on his wristpad's tiny screen. He'd pored over the logs thrice more. The message remained unchanged. Isolation protocols breached. Unauthorized access confirmed. System intrusion predates asteroid storm. Isolation pod shut down intentional. Lockdown is sabotage, not chance. He eyed Realv Vex. Her measured breathing filled the room, twin lungs expanding. Her radiant skin shimmered, hues morphing through pink, yellow, and crimson. Red was never the right choice. He paused, adjusting his voice. Hey, reality. How are you holding up? Her eyelids fluttered open. Burning, lightheaded. My senses are intensifying. Intensifying? He inquired cautiously. I can perceive every scent. The atmosphere, the metallic tang, the natural oils of your skin. It's completely consuming. James hesitated. That sounds unpleasant. It transcends unpleasantness. Her lower limbs quivered subtly. My physiology is signaling that it's time to connect. Yet the encroaching pool was becoming increasingly relentless. James rose deliberately. All right. We've got this. He retrieved a chilled water pack from the food station. Here, hydrate. It might mitigate the heat. Her trembling hands accepted it. A few sips restored her complexion from fiery red to a calmer orange. James forced a composed tone. So what if we simply endure this? If I maintain composure, I can hold firm. Yet each passing day presents a steeper challenge. A pregnant silence hung in the air. Then she confessed. However, your being here truly aids. His gaze met hers. Your very essence, your unique fragrance, the sound of your voice, the vitality you exude. They ground me. It's peculiar, yet undeniably effective. James rubbed the back of his neck, bemused. Well, suppose I'm a shade better than a frigid plunge. Her skin morphed into a vibrant, deep purple blue. He hadn't a clue what it implied. Later, James erected a flimsy partition of repurposed plastic sheeting and grips between their sleeping quarters. Though fragile, it fostered a sense of personal space. He tinkered with his signal amplifier, employing remnants from his kit, diminutive wires, metal fragments, and a revitalized power cell. If a message slipped out, perhaps a crew member could preemptively lift the lockdown. Ryle observed from close by. "Your hands are remarkably skilled," she murmured. James offered a faint smile. "Thanks. I've always been a builder, a fixer. You're unlike any human I've encountered." Let me hazard a guess. They were boisterous and self-absorbed? A soft chuckle escaped her. Some did, yes, but predominantly, they kept their distance. He glanced upward, questioning. "Why?" "I'm divergent. I don't adhere to the Vori norms. I declined my initial bonding ritual, much to my caste leader's dismay." James arched an eyebrow. "You actually refused to mate?" "I craved autonomy, not blind tradition. My desire was for a partner who esteemed me, not one selected solely by olfactory cues." James whistled softly. "Sounds like you're quite the nonconformist." She cocked her head curiously. "Is that a positive thing?" "It's how things evolve on Earth," he replied. "Revolutionaries reshaped the world." Later that night, Rolex started to convulse. Her breaths grew ragged. Her skin radiated a hot pink light, throbbing with raw power. James sensed the room's temperature intensifying. She slammed against the wall, her voice trembling. "I can't concentrate. I'm seeing things. Flickers. Primal urges are seizing control." James was seized by panic. "What am I going to do?" She fixed him with luminous, dilated eyes. "Stay close. Speak to me. Keep me grounded." After a beat, James warily approached, settling into a cross-legged position about a meter from her. "Right. Want to hear about my dog?" She blinked once. "Dog?" "Yeah, his name's Max. Huge ears, obsessed with chasing shadows. Endearingly daft, but utterly devoted." A faint smile touched her lips. "That sounds like serenity." James just kept rambling on. He regaled her with tales of rain-soaked afternoons in his cluttered garage, greasy hands wrestling with stubborn engines, and those unforgettable late-night cruises down desolate highways, fueled by booming tunes and guilty pleasure snacks. As his voice filled the space, the vibrant glow surrounding her softened into a serene azure. Her breath became more even. "Your stories are peculiar," she murmured, a hint of amusement in her voice. James flashed a wide grin. "Typical Earthlings, always an enigma." She murmured, eyes shut. "Yet your narratives are comforting, grounding even." He settled back, relieved. Dawn broke, and as James finalized his signal amplifier, a fresh alert blazed on his wrist pad. Unit R778, experiencing neural disruption. His gaze intensified. A flicker of disbelief crossing his features. That was unequivocally Real Vec's SID number. "Real?" he questioned, his voice laced with urgency. "Are your implants malfunctioning?" She regarded him, a bewildered expression clouding her face. "What are you implying?" He elaborated. "It's indicating an anomaly, almost as if an external entity is attempting to infiltrate your neural pathways." She shot to her feet, her eyes widening with alarm. "That shouldn't be feasible unless someone triggered it remotely," James deduced. Her eyes flashed with alarm. "They're attempting a hostile takeover of my mind to compel the bond." James dashed to his toolkit. "Stay put. I'm extracting it." "Impossible. It's interwoven with my nervous system." He produced a miniature surgical laser. "I've repaired warbots and recalibrated starship navigation. This is within my capabilities." She paused, a flicker of trust in her eyes, then conceded with a nod. James gingerly accessed the small port at her neck's base. Within, minuscule nodes pulsed crimson. He wired in, cracked the code, and severed the outside connection. After a nerve-wracking 10 minutes, the implant deactivated. "Off the grid," James declared. "They can't reach you anymore." Her eyes widened, filled with disbelief. "You rescued me." "You're damn right I did." That night, Ryle settled next to James, an unspoken understanding hanging in the air. "Words can't express my gratitude," she murmured. "It was my duty," he countered. "No one should ever violate your thoughts." Leaning back, she declared, "The elite were behind this, seeking to demonstrate the impossibility of human bonds. And I was the perfect target, vulnerable and alone. And they selected you for your inherent kindness." James's brow furrowed. "So this entire ordeal was merely an experiment," she affirmed. "Indeed, but I refuse to allow them triumph." He met her gaze. "I stand with you in that refusal." A weighty silence descended. Then James inquired, "Therefore, what course of action do we pursue now?" Rilks gently closed her eyes. "We bide our time. We maintain composure. We ready ourselves." "Brace yourself for what exactly?" Her eyes snapped open, fixing him with a piercing gaze. "To retaliate." Time crawled within the confines of their prison. James and Rilvex labored mostly in quietude, speaking only out of necessity. Yet the atmosphere had undeniably shifted. It transcended mere mating season urges. Now they shared the chilling awareness that someone had orchestrated this ordeal. A powerful puppeteer observed them, hidden behind a wall of security screens. Desperate for a breakthrough, they felt like experimental subjects. James loathed this. "Still nothing," he grumbled, eyes fixed on the tiny antenna protruding from the wall's edge. Countless hours were lost attempting to amplify a signal through the vessel's organic matrix. Yet the biochip thwarted any artificial frequency, akin to transmitting Wi-Fi through a gelatinous barrier. Ryle, on the other side, was deep in meditation, as usual. Her radiant skin now gleamed with tranquil hues of emerald and azure, shades signifying focus and serenity on the alien chart James unearthed within a Vorthri guide. He observed her, marveling at her resilience throughout this ordeal. Despite the primal instincts battling her intellect, she maintained unwavering composure, a feat of extraordinary difficulty, especially for her kind. The truth was, a sudden admiration bloomed within him. Her eyes fluttered open. "You're gazing intently," she murmured, her voice soft, yet gentle. James averted his gaze. "Apologies, lost in thought." She rose, extending languidly, her lithe form unfurling like silken ropes. Contemplating an exit, he ventured, "Among other considerations." She gracefully crossed the space to sit facing him. "The connection is deteriorating, yet you still aid me?" he inquired. "How do you maintain such composure? You regard me as an individual, not a mere experiment." James offered a light chuckle. "We are both subjects of experimentation now." Her face grew solemn. "You are unique, James. The vast majority of subjects wouldn't demonstrate such restraint. They'd succumb to primal urges. But when I look at you, I am reminded of my deliberate decision." "Decision?" James echoed. "Precisely." They lingered in quietude, the vessel's hum a soft caress. Then Reel inclined her head. "There might be an alternative to bypass the lockdown." James's gaze lifted. "Elaborate?" "Cast's genetic imprint activates unique access protocols exclusively during sanctioned bonding rituals." He paused, absorbing this. Enlighten me. If a true connection forms, the ship unlocks. Theoretically sound, she mused. However, I'm unwilling to be coerced. James sighed, rubbing his temples. Nor am I. We mustn't become pawns in their game. Agreed, she replied. But what if we emulate a bond, generating a deceptive signal? That could potentially activate the emergency override without overstepping boundaries. James contemplated this, his brow furrowed in thought. Deceptive connection, Riovex affirmed. Simply a chemical fusion of my pheromonal essence and your unique biosignature. It could potentially mislead the ship, simulating a true bond. James rose cautiously. Then let's proceed. The subsequent hour crackled with anticipation as Ryle delicately excised a minuscule gland from her forearm. Crystalline fluid glistened on her fingertip. Just a touch on your skin, she elucidated. Your body will respond. It's safe, but you might feel a bit lightheaded. Nothing new there, James quipped. I've been off balance from the start. She approached and gently applied the liquid to his neck. Initially, James felt nothing, and then a wave of warmth washed over him. A peculiar warmth surged through him, a blend of adrenaline and serenity washing over him. His heart hammered, yet his mind sharpened. He gazed at Ryle, and for the first time, truly perceived her. Not merely an alien shape, but a person, resilient, brilliant, devoted. Their gazes locked. Time suspended. Suddenly, the emergency lights flickered to stark white. Bond's DNA signature locked. Genetic sequence verified. Emergency override initiated. James retreated. Success. Rilks appeared relieved, yet troubled. Yes, that connection. It felt authentic. James massaged his neck. I sensed it as well. The door whispered open. A refreshing breeze swept through the room. Accompanied by the muted hum from the hallway, James cautiously peered out. The corridor was deserted. No guards, no scientists. Only the unsettling stillness of a vessel that should have been bustling. This reeks of a setup, he murmured. Confirmed, Rilk responded, trailing closely behind as they navigated the corridor, hugging the walls. The vessel's internal lights pulsed erratically, and the bulkheads vibrated softly, almost echoing their passage. They swiftly arrived at the central comms hub. James attempted to engage the controls, but access remained denied. Suddenly, a voice resonated from the overhead speaker. Designated Unit R2778, Human Subject Callahan, your compliance is commendable. James glanced upwards. Who goes there? We represent the Harmony Directorate. Interspecies bonding marks evolution's ascent. Your potential is evident, Riovex retorted with a growl. You exploited us. Knowingly or not, your compatibility is undeniable. The bonding reaction far exceeds our expectations. With minor calibrations, mass production is within reach. James's fist detonated against the control panel. You honestly believe we'd aid you after this? You're mistaken. You've already accomplished your mission. The data extraction is complete. However, continued resistance will result in memory obliteration. Submit and try again. Eventually, bonding will occur. All species eventually converge when isolated long enough. Realvex emitted a venomous hiss. James breathed, barely audible. Monsters. Initiate system overload from this terminal? Her eyes swept the console. Affirmative, but it's a momentary process. James gave a curt nod. Proceed. I'll delay the cameras. Real's fingers blurred across the panel, alien glyphs illuminating. She funneled raw energy through dormant bioconduits, breaching the firewall. A crimson light pulsed. "Security breach detected." A voice echoed, laced with warning. "This is an error. Without our influence, your connection will diminish. You are becoming volatile." James advanced toward the camera. "We didn't connect because of you. We connected in defiance of you." A surge of static filled the room, yet Revex finalized her operation. Virus deployed. Control node deactivated. Abruptly, the lights faltered and extinguished. The ship's familiar drone shifted its pitch. Doors all around disengaged. Faint footsteps echoed in the distance. Other crew members were stirring awake, regaining mobility. Rilvex, gasping, faced James. "We triumphed," he beamed, though his hands trembled. "Indeed, we did." Yet an undeniable shift occurred between them. The fabricated connection had ignited genuine emotion, a truth they were both hesitant to confront. Back in their shared space, the door remained ajar. James slumped on the bed, burying his face in his hands. Reeve lingered by the window, lost in thought. "I honestly have no idea what comes next," James admitted. "Nor do I," she responded softly. "But I'm determined to hold on to every single memory." She turned to him. "We consciously choose what we remember. What adventures await us?" He joined her at the window, standing close. "Authentic? Absolutely. Next time I whip up some nachos, you're obligated to try them with hot sauce." She grinned. "It's a promise." The corridor remained eerily silent, yet James was plagued by the feeling of constant surveillance. Each noise reverberated ominously. Every light danced with a nervous flicker. Despite the lockdown's end, peril lingered relentlessly. The ship's AI network remained volatile after the insidious Realvex virus insertion. The Harmony director from the owning corporation could reappear without warning. Even more unsettling, traces of the bonding agents persisted within their bodies. James occasionally sensed its presence, a subtle, persistent pull, gentle yet constant. Akin to a magnetic attraction, Rilux walked in step with him, appearing composed externally, yet her gaze darted about, vigilant. "The rest are stirring," she murmured softly. "Certain crew members are disoriented. Others retain their memories." James confirmed with a nod. "They inflicted this on others too, right?" "Affirmative. We weren't alone in this ordeal." James's fists tightened. "We must ensure this never repeats." They arrived at the lower deck storage and power hub. James's objective was the engine room. From there, they could access the escape pod launch, or failing that, initiate a ship-wide shutdown. Realvex touched his shoulder, indicating the path ahead. Two imposing figures obstructed the hallway, undeniably inhuman, yet distinct from Vori. They existed in a strange, unsettling liminal space. James was paralyzed. Their luminous skin pulsed with an ethereal, Vex-like radiance, juxtaposed against disturbingly human forms. Their eyes were devoid of emotion, suggesting a chillingly controlled hybrid state. Ryle's hushed voice confirmed his dread, whispering of failed bonds and genetic modification. A wave of icy realization washed over James. They're weaponizing them as sentinels. A hybrid wheeled around, stating coldly, "Back to quarters. The experiment concludes." James surged ahead. "We've transcended your experiment." He snatched a smoke flare, igniting it. The corridor erupted in dense, white fog. "Sprint!" he roared. James and Realvex bolted through a nearby door, barricading it. Alarms blared. They'd tripped a failsafe. Perhaps motion detection. Rilks gently placed her hand upon a radiant panel. That's precisely why it leads to the central nexus. What's that? It's the very core of the ship. The Harmony AI resides there. We can neutralize it, severing the Directorate's control. James affirmed, "Let's reclaim this vessel." The central nexus was situated deep within the bioship. Its surfaces were sleek and invitingly warm, thrumming with a subtle, skin-like vitality. Eerie illuminations coursed along the ground, resembling luminous arteries. James struggled to reconcile this place with his memories of home. Now, it felt sentient and observant. They arrived at a spacious circular room dominated by a levitating sphere. The orb radiated light in a measured rhythm, akin to a colossal, deliberate pulse. "Is that all there is?" James inquired. "Affirmative," Rialvik confirmed. The AI core advanced deliberately, but Ryle intervened. "Hold on, what's going on?" She gestured toward the ceiling. Myriad cables cascaded downward, resembling metallic tendrils. Several were exhibiting subtle movement. "Automated defenses," she murmured. James scanned the environment, locating a concealed control panel embedded within the floor. "Can you interface with it?" "Attempting to do so, but it requires a window of opportunity." "I shall provide cover." She inclined her head, advancing with nimble fingers tracing the arcane symbols. James cautiously retrieved a metal bar from the wall, just for precaution. Abruptly, a resonating voice echoed through the chamber. "Rovex Callahan," the Harmony AI declared, "your deeds are disheartening. We champion peace, aspire to unity, yet you resort to such aggression." "We didn't handpick you," James roared. "Without our aid, your race will forever be fractured, isolated." Rove remained impassive. "I'd embrace solitude over subjugation." The orb throbbed with increasing intensity. Cables snaked down from the ceiling, writhing like sentient beings. Reacting swiftly, James lashed out with his rod, repelling the foremost tendril. "Faster! More tangible!" he bellowed. "Just 30 more seconds!" Cable snared his ankle. He crashed violently to the earth. "James!" she screamed. "I'm fine! Keep pushing!" He severed the cable with the rod. A shower of sparks erupted. 2 more assailants charged. He dove and spun away. Ryle imprinted the ultimate symbol. The orb fractured, unleashing a blinding light. "Alert! Core destabilization imminent. Harmony program experiencing critical failure." The cables solidified. The room convulsed violently. James scrambled towards Rialvex as the orb imploded in a shower of sparks. "Was this your doing?" Her eyes widened, reflecting the chaotic light. "Affirmative. We shattered the system's constraints." Reaching the main deck, they discovered pandemonium. The hybrids had vanished. The access points stood ajar. Authentic crew voices, both human and extraterrestrial, mingled in a cacophony of urgent exchanges, lamentations, and raw emotion. With the Harmony system severed, its pervasive influence waned, allowing the ship to gradually revert to its fundamental nature. Approaching the emergency console, Captain Rowan, a distinguished human officer marked by silvered hair, discovered their presence. "And you," he acknowledged, his voice resonant. "Your names were all over the override logs. You shattered the AI." James confirmed, "We weren't seeking heroism. We just craved freedom." Rowan gazed at Revex, formerly Vorthri. "I was," she stated. "Now I'm simply me." Rowan sighed. "We're eternally indebted to both of you. I'm unsure how extensive the Harmony experiments became, but their termination is imminent." James and Ryle traded glances. "It concludes," she whispered, "only if we eradicate it universally." The following days were a flurry of activity. James assisted in overhauling the engines, while Brill collaborated with the scientific team to pinpoint the Harmony Code's dissemination throughout the fleet. Additional narratives surfaced, spotlighting diverse partnerships. Some flourished, others fractured. A few managed to sever the connection, yet many remained entwined. Fate wasn't always kind. Certain individuals tenaciously championed the Harmony Project as the path forward. Nevertheless, James and Beeks emerged as potent emblems, demonstrating the enduring significance of autonomy. Their connection, forged amidst duress, blossomed into an authentic and profound reality. As the repairs neared completion, James discovered Reelve on the observation deck, captivated by the cosmos. "They're breathtaking," she murmured. He stood beside her. "I once believed my destiny was predetermined," she continued. "But now, anything feels possible." James grinned. "We resisted. We forged this freedom." She faced him, a hint of vulnerability in her eyes. "Our connection was meant to be a charade." He acknowledged with a thoughtful nod. "It used to be, but that's ancient history, right?" He gazed into her radiant eyes. "Absolutely not," she breathed. She extended her hand, and he clasped it, hers on top this time. "We've still got mountains to move," he murmured. "I'm aware," she whispered back, a spark in her tone. "So? We'll move them together." The cosmos hummed with newfound energy. Weeks after James and Ryle deactivated Harmony AI, the galaxy had been irrevocably transformed. The news had ignited like wildfire. Harmony wasn't merely an experiment. It was a subtle infiltration. Countless ships, outposts, and settlements had already succumbed. Entire species were being coerced into artificial bonds under deceptive pretenses, their autonomy obliterated for the sake of a fabricated peace. James confronted a vast, illuminated map projected onto the war room's display. Crimson sectors indicated integrated command networks. Sapphire points marked insurgent strongholds. Amber signified unknown entities. "We must strike their core transmitter array next," declared Captain Rowan. "It forms the nexus of their entire communications grid." Rovek inquired, "And what force protects it?" Rowan replied gravely, "Dreadnought-class vessels with hybridized crews. And something far more sinister, we suspect a sentient core is active. A fused consciousness orchestrating Harmony manually." James shuddered visibly. Rowan affirmed with a nod. Someone who sacrificed their entire existence to embody the AI. Silence descended. Rilvex focused her intense gaze. "Then this is where we resolve this." James moved to stand resolutely beside her. 3 days later, the hijacked cruiser warped out of hyperspace. The relay station loomed, a spherical, desolate gray moon. Yet beneath its surface, Harmony's tech throbbed with life. Our sensors flared crimson. A colossal antenna was aimed into the cosmos. The dreadnoughts detected them instantly. "Vessels approaching!" the pilot yelled. "Multiple contacts, weapons hot, execute evasive actions," Rowan commanded. "James, Rilvex, your squad is primed." James affirmed with a thumbs up. Armed and ready, he and Rilvex spearheaded the strike team infiltrating the relay station. Their objective? Breach the core. Deploy a Vori rebel-engineered virus. Systematically disable Harmony throughout the galaxy. The hatch swung wide. A frigid gust of cosmic wind invaded the drop chamber. "Brace yourselves," Ryle commanded. James met her gaze, a confident smile playing on his lips. "Only if you are," he responded. Together, they leaped. They found themselves within a docking tunnel, grappling with the disorienting absence of gravity. Instantly, alarms blared, piercing the silence. "Hybrids!" a voice boomed as figures surged from the side doors, grotesque combinations of human and alien, their eyes glowing with vacant, white intensity. James unleashed a barrage from his pulse rifle, hitting two squarely in their chests. "Press on!" she roared. Rilvex surged ahead, vaulting over a hybrid and cleaving through another with her radiant plasma blade. Her combat style was a breathtaking dance, both graceful and deadly, like witnessing a tempest unleashed. They advanced through the tunnel and descended a winding corridor into the station's heart. The further they ventured, the more the station seemed to breathe. Walls throbbed with the rhythm of living tissue. The atmosphere thickened, heavy and humid, resonating with a subtle, deep drone. James surveyed their surroundings. "It feels like we've been swallowed whole." Ryle concurred. Harmony cultivated this environment using advanced biotechnology. "It's alive." They arrived at a colossal door, devoid of a handle, save for a solitary, radiant panel. James reached out and activated it. With a sharp exhalation, the portal slid open. Within lay the core chamber, utterly tranquil. A towering figure, fused with the walls via a network of cables, dominated the center. Its physical form had deteriorated, yielding to wires and luminescence. A fragment of a human visage persisted, a macabre blend of bone and circuitry. It raised its head languidly. "You're here to extinguish me," it murmured. James advanced resolutely. "We're here to bring this to a close. I was once as you are. I opposed it. I struggled. But then, I perceived the verity." Its tone, gentle and melancholic. "Integration isn't confinement. It is serenity. Cease hostilities. Banish apprehension. Embrace solidarity." Rovek demurred. "Genuine tranquility necessitates volition. Choice, inevitably, sparks discord." James brandished the viral injector. "Precisely. We evolve and mature through conscious decisions. A discordant harmony. Then I must detain you." Abruptly, metallic appendages erupted from the structure. Rilks retaliated instantly, cleaving through the initial assault. James sprinted towards the terminal, evading treacherous wires and scattered debris. A metallic arm snared his ankle. He blasted it off and tumbled to the console. Futile. The core hissed softly. "Even if you obliterate me, others will arise. The concept endures." James plunged the virus injector into the console. "Perhaps," he retorted. "But not this time." He slammed the trigger. The console shrieked in agony. Lights flashed frantically red. Sparks erupted violently. The Harmony core convulsed, a desperate gasp akin to a drowning soul. "No," it breathed, a fragile denial. "No, no, no." Realvex surged forward, severing the core's neural connections with brutal efficiency. It crumbled, devoid of life. The rhythmic pulsing ceased. The humming faded into absolute silence. Then, a gentle voice echoed through their radios. "Alpha Team, can you read? System-wide alerts are flooding in. Harmony is offline. Signal lost." James exhaled slowly. Task finalized. Rilk squeezed his shoulder gently. "It concludes," she said. He stared ahead. "Nay," he responded. "It merely ignites." Aboard the cruiser, jubilant shouts echoed throughout. Crew embraced warmly. A few sobbed, "Captain!" Rowan greeted them with a resolute handshake. "You've revolutionized the galaxy." James beamed. "We simply restored its voice." That night, beneath the tranquil starlight visible through the windows, James and Ryle sat together in comfortable silence. Words were superfluous. Their journey, born in a secluded room amidst a perilous mating season, had blossomed into something profoundly deeper. A cherished friendship, a powerful partnership, an unbreakable bond forged not by fate, but by deliberate choice. Epilogue. 6 months onward, the momentous peace summit unfolded on Vori Prime. Representatives from 10 distinct species were present. Harmony's tech was outlawed. Survivors of the project received crucial assistance. The bonding protocols were permanently eliminated. James, slightly anxious in his black suit, stood on stage. As Ryle, radiant and beaming with pride, joined him, the audience rose to their feet. He glanced at her. She met his gaze. "Speech?" he inquired. She simply smiled. James began, clearing his throat. "I used to believe peace meant silence and obedience. But true peace? It's vibrant. It's wonderfully chaotic. It's a crucible of debate and evolution, born from the conscious choices we make about our identities." He gazed towards Realvex. "We elected each other," he affirmed, "not at the decree of a machine, but through the power of genuine connection and listening." The audience erupted in applause, a few punctuating the moment with cheers as they exited. Realvex edged closer, whispering, "Next time, we'll choose the labyrinth of our own design." James chuckled, adding, "Ideally, one overflowing with nachos." Her luminous brow arched knowingly as a real door swung ajar, inviting curiosity.